sure that you moisturise your skin, and then once it's all dry, apply your primer. I'm using MAC's Prep and Prime. I'm just going to pop a little bit on the back of my finger, and I'm going to use the natural body heat through my fingers to really help it blend seamlessly into the skin. Like that. And then to cover up your dark circles underneath the eyes, you want to opt for a salmon colour or an orange coloured concealer, just because the orange shade really helps to counteract with the dark circles underneath your eyes. I'm using MAC's Pro Conceal and Correct palette in medium deep. You can find this at any MAC Pro store. And this palette comes with 4 Studio Finish concealers to suit your shade, and also with 2 corrector shades. So what I like to do is first correct the areas that are dark on my face, and then go over it with the appropriate Studio Finish concealer shade for my skin. So just getting a little bit of this orange shade here called Burnt Coral. And we're just gonna tap it into the areas where we want to cover up the dark circles. So for me, my obvious dark circles are underneath my eyes. Like that, and just use a patting motion so it really blends in. And same with the other side. And then straight after that, you want to go in with the right concealer shade. For me, it's a Studio Finish concealer in the NC42. So just with another finger, I'm just going to pat it on top of that orange that we just applied. And this will bring it back down to my normal skin colour. Again, using your fingers really helps to blend the product in. Okay, now that we've primed and corrected the skin, we're going to be applying our foundation. So I'm using the Real Technique stippling brush with my Studio Fix from MAC in the NC45. And I'm just gonna stipple it all through the skin, making sure that I'm covering everything and that it's blending out really well. The Studio Fix foundation really works for me because I do like to build up between a medium to full coverage. Plus, I also get quite oily skin in the summertime, so the matte finish with the Studio Fix foundation really helps as well. Okay, now that we've finally primed, corrected and applied our foundation, we're finally up to the contour and highlight part. As a general rule, when you contour, you want to go 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation, and when you highlight, you want to go 2 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation. The whole reason that we contour is to create more structure, definition, and we want to create more depth to our face. So when you contour, you generally do it on the perimeters of your face and on the sides of your nose, and when you highlight, you're doing the T-zone area and underneath your eyes. In the makeup world or makeup theory, the most perfect face is an oval shaped face. So if you were to look straight into a mirror and you were to draw an oval as close to the perimeters of your face, all the face or skin outside of that perimeter is where you'd ideally contour. So when you're contouring, you want to use a matte shade. Reason being is if you use a shimmer product or a shimmer bronzer to contour, what's going to happen is those shimmer particles are going to be picked up by the light, and rather than casting shadows and depth in your face, it's actually going to do the complete opposite, and it's not going to contour your face at all. So when we highlight, it's to draw attention or to attract light to certain areas of our face. So when we highlight in the T-zone and underneath the eye area, and when we contour, it's to create depth and shadows, and we want to recede those areas. So you contour along the top hairline, along your temples, under your cheekbone, along your jawline, towards your chin, and along the sides of your nose. And now for the contouring. So when I contour, I use brush number 19 from Napoleon Perdis. This is their angled contour brush, and I prefer this one over some of the other contour brushes that I've used in the past, only because it's quite a skinny brush, and when it's that skinny, you can actually control how much product is going on your face. If you wanted a thicker contour line, obviously you can build it up until you get your desired look. But when I apply the brush to my face, I like to apply it thin and then build it up until I get my desired thickness. And now for contouring your cheekbones. If you were to grab your thumbs, you can actually feel out where your cheekbone is. It's just in this region here, going down towards your mouth. And that's the area where you'll be contouring. And if you were to grab your brush and draw an imaginary line between the top of your ear going towards your mouth and sit it under that area we just felt out with our thumbs. That's our contour zone. Again, from the top of your ear going towards your mouth and sitting right underneath that cheekbone we had just felt out with our thumbs. That is going to be your contour zone. But you're not going to be going all the way to the corner of your mouth, because not only will that look very muddy and dirty, but it's going to make your face look a lot longer than it actually is, and it's going to look very unnatural. We're going to be following that contour line all the way through, and just where it hits the corner of your eye is where you're going to stop. So your contour shade will come underneath that cheekbone and it will stop at the very corners of your eye. You want to blend it out as much as you can and make it look as seamless and as flawless as possible, so that it almost looks like your natural features coming through the foundation. So if you're going to be having these thick contour lines that go all the way to your mouth, it's going to look so unreal and really unnatural, and it won't look flattering. You would have looked better without those contour lines in the first place. Okay, and now for the contour shade, I actually picked up the Australis AC On Tour Contour and Highlighting Kit from Priceline for under 20 Australian dollars. I found this to be a really great dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. If you don't want to be spending a lot of money on contour kits, definitely try out the Australis AC On Tour Contour and Highlight Kit. So for my skin tone, I'm going to be using shade number 4 from the Australis Contour Kit. So again, we're going to go from the top of our ear towards our mouth, stopping at the corner of our eyes. And just like that, build it up. Like that. And that's basically it. So all you have to remember is go from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth, and you're going to stop at the corner of your eye and making sure that it sits underneath that cheekbone that you had felt out with your thumb. And once you've got that line in place, then you can slowly blend it upwards in small circular motions. Pick up some more product, tap off the excess, and draw that line in. And then once that line's in place, you're going to slowly blend upwards in small circular motions. And obviously make it as symmetrical as possible. And next we're going to be doing our temples, so picking up some more product. Like that. And in small circular motions. And then you can connect it to your cheekbone if you like. And make sure that you're blending that contour into your hairline, because you don't want to have a strip of foundation or a line of foundation in between your contour and hairline. Lastly, for the forehead, I'm just gonna go along the top hairline and make sure to blend it into the foundation. We've got along the hairline, through the temples, and then coming up underneath our cheekbone. And then the last step is to go underneath your jawline like that. So picking up more product and just like that, and in small circular motions. When you're doing your jawline, you want to make sure that it's not so flat onto your face, but it's just at the edge of that jawline, so it's in between your face and underneath your chin. Just like that, and making sure that you're blending that through and underneath your chin. But we've got the hairline, the temple, under the cheekbone, and along the jawline, so we've created that figure 3. So remember, contouring was 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation, and to highlight you want to go 2 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation. So to highlight, I'm using my MAC Prolongwear concealer in the NC42, and I'm going to be applying it with my MAC 130 Duo Fibre concealer brush. So to highlight, we're going to be brightening up the center of the face. This is where we want the light to be attracted to. So we highlight the T-zone area, and we also highlight underneath the eyes. To highlight under the eyes, you're going to be creating these triangles that go down along the nose, up towards the corners of the eye, and underneath the lower lash line. So just popping a little bit of that Prolongwear concealer on the back of my hand, and that was in the NC42, and just making sure to work that into my brush. And we're just going to start like that. Because this is quite a thick concealer, you want to make sure that you're stamping it into your foundation until it runs dry. So I'm not actually swiping or using a sliding motion with my hand and wiping off all the product that we had just applied. I'm actually stamping it into the skin and making sure that that concealer is fusing in really well with my foundation. And then again on this side, so we're creating that triangle, going down along the nose, underneath the eyes, and connecting the corner of our eye to the corner of our nose. Okay, now that we've highlighted underneath the eye area, we're going to highlight the T-zone. So I'm just going to work a little bit more into my brush and just stamp it into this area. Because I have quite a large forehead already, I don't want to highlight my forehead as much. So I'm just sticking to this area here and just stamping that in. And to highlight the nose, I'm just going to be grabbing a little bit on my finger and running that through the bridge of my nose. The whole reason that we highlight and contour our nose is to create a more slimmer looking nose. So when you're highlighting the bridge of your nose, you want to make sure that you're not making it too thick, because then your nose will look really wide. Remember, highlighting attracts light. So if you're creating a thick line down the bridge of your nose is going to look a lot wider than it actually is. So just make sure that you're controlling that concealer with your finger and don't apply it too thick, and just blend that out. And then just apply the smallest amount on your chin. Don't apply too much, because that can also make your chin look very grey if it goes too light. And then I'm going back to my foundation brush and making sure to blend the highlight zones really well with my foundation. Now with any cream or liquid products, whether it be a liquid foundation, a cream contour or a cream concealer, you want to make sure that you're setting it down with powder. If you don't, it will crease, budge or move throughout the day, and it will make it look very messy. So we press powder underneath the eyes, along the forehead and on the chin, and the last area is just on the bridge of the nose, like that. The last part of the contour and highlight is to contour the sides of the nose. I'm going in with the Napoleon Perdis Sculpting brush in 10R, and we're going back into shade number 4 in the Australis contour kit, picking up some product, tapping off the excess, and just drawing a faint line on the sides of your nose, just like that, and on the very tip. And using that blending brush to really blend it out. Make sure you're also not interfering with that lighter shade we had applied on the bridge of the nose, and we want to connect those lines to the crease as well. This will help it to look a lot more natural. So extend that line up into the crease underneath your eyebrow, like that. There you go. And that brings us to the end of my correct contour and highlighting video. So just a real quick recap: when you are correcting underneath your eyes, always use a salmon or an orange coloured corrector. When you contour, go 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation, and when you highlight, go 2 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation. We contour the perimeters of our face and our nose to create shade, and we highlight and brighten our T-zone and underneath the eye area to attract light. Always use matte shades when you're contouring, because we want to create shade and not do the opposite by attracting light. Thank you guys so much for watching my correct contour and highlight video. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe or comment below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!